Hi, today we're going to be making a family favorite, toffee. First thing I want to make sure that everybody realizes is that you need everything in place before you start, because once the candy's cooked, the last few steps go really fast and you need everything in place. So you're going to need the pan to cook the toffee, you're going to need a candy thermometer, you're going to use 2 cups of butter. I'm going to just start the butter melting, so that's ready to go. You're also going to take and prepare the pan by just taking some other butter and just going around up here so that when the candy is melting, it doesn't stick to the side. The next thing that you're going to need is the 2 cups of sugar. And add the sugar to the butter as it melts. Then you have 6 tablespoons of water. And finally, to the candy mixture here, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Helps if you measure the water out first in the tablespoon, so then the cornstarch, the corn syrup, sorry, but the corn syrup comes out more easily. So 3 tablespoons of corn syrup. So the ingredients that we have in here, we're just gonna melt the butter, the sugar, the 6 tablespoons of water, and the 3 tablespoons of corn syrup. Now, I said to have everything ready. The other things that you want to have ready to go include a cup of almonds that are chopped coarsely. You also need a cup of almonds which are chopped fine, and then you need a cup and a half of semi-sweet morsels or Hershey's or chocolate bars, whatever you want to put on as the top of the chocolate. So the almonds that I used, I took and toasted at 300 degrees for 15 minutes, and then I chopped those up coarsely with a knife, and the ground ones I just ground in a food processor. So here we have it. Everything's, all the butter's melted and everything is mixed in, all the sugar's mixed in, and you can see the nice light yellow at this point. And it's important to actually watch the color. You can see the color change as the candy cooks, and that gives you an idea of how close to the end stage you are. So we're just at the real light yellow, and you can see that we're just starting to boil around the edges here. We're about 5 minutes into when we've started from. So we've been cooking for about 8 minutes over medium-high heat. And you can see the candy has really started to boil right now. It's coming up the sides of the pan, so it's important to have a pan that's tall enough to handle it. And so you want to keep stirring, and this is where a lot of the water in the candy is boiling off. So we've been cooking the toffee about 15 minutes now, and we're right about at 250 degrees. We're going to cook the toffee up to 290 degrees, which is the soft crack stage. And if anything, we want to make sure that we cook at least to 290. If you don't cook up past 290, just a little bit, the toffee won't set, and it won't. It'll be soft. It won't be a nice crack. And you can see the color of the toffee now is started to change from that bright yellow, and it's starting to get a brownish tinge to it. So you have to make sure that you keep the thermometer up off the bottom of the pan so that you don't get a false reading. The bottom of the pan is a lot hotter than the candy. Also, once we get up near the 280 degrees, we want to make sure that we keep a real close eye on it, because it's going to go up fast after that. You're going to want to have your pan ready, and I have a non-stick surface here on the pan so that the toffee can be poured right into it, and it won't stick, and you'll be able to get it off once it hardens. So we've been cooking the toffee about 23 minutes now. We're at 280 degrees, and remember, this is where you really have to start watching. You can see the toffee's gotten really dark, and it's also starting to move together a lot. I'm going to pull out the thermometer so that I can mix in the nuts. I'm going to turn off the heat. I've got the coarsely chopped nuts. I'm going to pour them in. That goes real fast. You mix them in, and then you pour out the toffee. And It's very, very hot at this point. You have to be incredibly careful with it. So we just poured the toffee out of the pan, and you can spread it out here to get a nice thin layer of the toffee. Don't worry if like small holes form, because they will fill back in. We're gonna let the toffee sit about 1 to 2 minutes. It started to set, but it's still cool. We're gonna take the chocolate chips that we have, about 1.5 cups, and we're just gonna pour them on there, and we will see them melt. And when they're nice and soft, we'll spread them around. It's been a couple of minutes now, and you can see that a lot of the chips have started to melt. So I'm just gonna start spreading around on the toffee. The last step, after you've spread the chocolate around, is to sprinkle the finely ground almonds on the top. And then you can let it cool at room temperature. You can go ahead and you can pop it in the refrigerator. All right, so it's been in the refrigerator about an hour now, and so the toffee is set up, and we can just go ahead and you can just break it into pieces and send it off to your friends. It's perfect. I recommend using a glove because it does get a little bit sharp when you're doing this. So, all done. Perfect. Nice crack.